Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to another third channel video. Today I'm in Las Vegas, to be precise, Las Vegas International Airport. I've been living in Las Vegas for about a month. I'm going to be living here for the next month. And basically, this Las Vegas Strip, the things you all know. By the way, there are planes that through my airport, just in case the mega structure itself doesn't immediately yell at you. But one of the things about Las Vegas that you might not be too familiar with is the fact that it is incredibly close to the airport. That's one of the things I love about the city. I'm about a 5-minute drive or about a 45-minute to an hour walk away from the airport. And I figured, you know, even though in America it's such a car-centric country, it's so hard to get walking directions to an airport, why don't I try and do precisely that? So I'm here in the heat, as you can see, literally no one around anywhere that I can see, and I'm going to be going on a little bit of a journey, hopefully over to there, because I mean the Strip is, to simplify things, big casinos that you picture when you picture Las Vegas, that's where I'm staying, because you know what, who doesn't love to be a tourist sometimes? So yeah, I'm going to be trying to get from the airport right here at the taxi departures to the Strip. I only have a vague idea of the fact that this might be possible, and again, during Corona you never know if it's even you know, like there's a lot of things that are wired off. Even to get to the taxis you have to be like, hey, I'm just trying to walk from the airport, and the guy made me a weird look and then he's like, this way I guess. So yeah, now we're gonna follow and see if that works. So again, this is Las Vegas International Airport. It's a huge airport. It's not that international. That's actually the one big flaw. You know, I could talk all day about my issues I've been thinking about with moving here long term. The biggest one is the heat. You might notice from my squinting and all the pain that comes along with that, there's a sign that says do not enter. But do you think that applies to me as a human? I have to imagine it doesn't, right? I don't like do not enter signs though. They make me feel like I'm doing something wrong. And let's be, you know, when you're in an airport, doing things wrong, it's not like oh, we'll tell you to stop that. Doing things wrong in an airport is like we're gonna take you in the back room kind of deal, right? Like, speaking of back rooms, this morning it wasn't technically a back room, but I've had some issues. I don't know why. It's called like, it's called 4S's, like super security for Super Saiyan or something like that. Anyway, there's a thing you have to go through if you've been suspected of something, and you know, usually you get tagged with if you're like, you know, like if you're like suspected of terrorism or something like that. Sometimes it's just when you go somewhere suspicious, but like I'm trying to play it up here, okay? If you're flying to America and you're non-American, you'll get it randomly sometimes, but as a non-American in America, it's very, you know, it's not a common thing to get, and it's especially not common to get non-stop. There is a huge taxi rank there, like maybe 100 taxis. I mean, that tells me that there are roads where I'm going. Doesn't tell me that they're the right roads. Ooh, yeah. Something feels a bit wrong about this, but we'll work it out, I guess. We'll work it out. This is such a weird experience. Okay, I'm gonna maybe try and cut that way, or again go towards the building. Maybe not. Let's give it a try. Let's cross the road. There's some nice rocks on this side. Maybe if I could use the rocks. You can probably walk on rocks. Again, it's an airport though. It's fun because usually my kind of ethos is like, you can do what you need to do and everything else just about works itself out. Here that does not seem to be the case. Well, I can see where I want to go. If I just walk that direction, I can see the buildings. I mean, even though I'm walking on some weird gravel strips and someone might come get me, tell me something's gone very wrong, I'm sure it's an honest thing to just want to walk to an airport, right? There's no sign telling. In the real world, the no sign telling you can't is the rule. I feel like at airports the rule is, you know, there's a predetermined list of things you're meant to know. I mean, in real life, if you don't know, it's pretty interesting, but the rules seem to be in the real world, like I forget the actual word of it, but like your ignorance of the law is not a defense for breaking the law. Like it is your duty as a citizen to be aware of laws that apply. In America, for instance, jaywalking is a crime. Not that I would ever commit crimes and post them onto YouTube. But anyway, okay, now there's a road that just goes nowhere. And behind me it says vehicles over 13 feet must exit here. So that's a pedestrian crosswalk. This is meant for people, as weird as this is. See, this is how by the way, there's no monorail, tram, metro system going to the Las Vegas airport. what you have as options, you drive, you Uber, you taxi, apparently very few people, or a lot of people, I'm not sure how to take 100 taxis lined up, what that means. Walking is just not considered a thing, even with a city that close. The MGM Grand is so close, I feel like I can touch it, even though there are lots of planes between me and it. And yeah, it's super weird. I could talk all day about how, like, I really think America's the thing that made me realize I should probably get a license. And it's interesting because me, you know, like, I wanted to stand up against the whole, like, you shouldn't have to have a driving license just to exist and to do things you want to do. And most parts of the world are down with that, and they, like, support you, and they're like, yeah, we'll make a thing work. America's like, oh yeah, not only can you not Uber here, even if you have the money, if you Uber here, you can't call an Uber back because there's like a paying gate, like for everything I wanted to do. It's like, oh yeah, you need to learn to drive if you want to come here, or you can just not come here, I guess. Or you can bike, but you still have to pay a lot of money, and there's a lot of issues. It's Red Rock Canyon, in case you're curious. Don't think we can see it from here, it's behind the strip. But there's an interesting thing that came when I realized I'd have to learn to drive. Not only that this thing where I could just put something off indefinitely, and where I live in the UK, there's no issues with me driving. I'm not going to buy a car, I'm only going to rent them when I'm overseas. But where I live in the UK, it's really interesting that, you know, I don't need to drive in the slightest. And, you know, therefore, one of the things I like, you know, I shouldn't admit I break the law too many times. This is a joke that I break the law. But, like, technically speaking, e-scooters are not legal in the UK. You're not, well, actually, they're not legal. You're just not allowed to legally ride them on the pavement, because the pavement is reserved for, like, I want to say people and horses. And you're not allowed to ride them on the road, because anything on the road has to be registered, or it has to be a bike. It's not a bike, and it's not registered for tax and insurance purposes. Therefore, it's illegal. But the crime if I get caught, sorry, the penalty if I get caught is, like, I think it's either 3 or 6 points on my license. And it's like, oh no, what will I do with 6 points on my theoretical license? You know, like, it's, whereas now, like, that becomes a real penalty. And it makes me think about something that I realize every now and then as I grow up through my 20s. Maybe this is a guy experience, but I think it's a universal experience, that as you age, you start to pick up more responsibilities. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you can shirk the responsibilities for a long time. But as you age, you start to pick up more responsibilities and more investments. And, like, you know, a lot of the things I do on this channel that seem entirely reckless, it's kind of fine to do, because, like, you know, if I do, you know, if I take a 1 in a million risk and, you know, I die, oh well, you know, like, I wasn't alive and I'm dead. Oh, someone else walks to the airport, that's nice. No, let's pretend this is a perfectly normal thing to do. But if I die and it's a 1 in a million chance, oh no, death, what a terrible thing. Like, once you get over that, like, worst case outcome, it's pretty fine. But the interesting thing about investment is it makes you really care about things on a different level. Like, oh yeah, once you pick up a long-time girlfriend, you know, I've been resisting the urge because I travel so much to pick up an animal, but, like, you know, once you start to have people in your life that miss you, I guess one of the, you know, like, one of the, like, brutal truths that you realize about the world when you're late teenager is that, you know, there are a few people that care about you. You know, your family has an invested interest in you, but for the most part, the world doesn't really care about you, and that's nice. It's very freeing to realize that as long as you're not doing something too awfully wrong. You know, I jaywalked in an airport, technically a crime, oh no. I think I probably did some other things that weren't okay in this video, but, like, it's mostly fine. I didn't hurt anyone. I made sure there was no traffic, so no one would have to slow down even. What is this journey to the airport, by the way? What is happening here? Look at that cactus. That is such a fake looking cactus. But yeah, the almost realization is that no one really cares about you. People like to act like there is this oppressive force coming to get them at all times. And, you know, in some ways, you can argue it exists, that, like, you can't do, you know, doing nothing is not a viable option for many humans throughout history. It's the most viable it's ever been right now, but it's still not as viable as doing something which, you know, whatever economic system you exist in deems to be, you know, productive. And, you know, that sucks. And even if you are productive, it's, you know, your productivity doesn't match what you get out of the world. Wow, someone else is out there to get you. I kind of get that, you know, that you can feel on some level, but in reality, there's not an active cabal against you, you know. Unlike schizophrenics might believe, the world is very neutral to your existence. If you die tomorrow, you know, like, you become a statistic. You don't become an excited life, as, you know, a couple hundred, actually it's 1 million people I think have died of COVID. You might know about like the Herman Cains of the world or whatever famous person, you know. You might not even know about the Herman Cains of the world, you know, someone who was 80 and had all these connections, because he might just have never come up in your life, you know. But my point with this is the world doesn't really care if you're alive or if you're not. The world cares about the macro things, and that's fine, it's freeing. But then you start to pick up investments, and the world, you know, not even though the world as a whole might not care too much, your specific world does. You build a world that orbits around you in some ways, and it's super interesting that that world that you pick up starts to care about you, and it starts to alter your risk profile, you know. Like, I think about the fact that there's you know, like, I don't know, I was riding a scooter for Atlanta, and like, yeah, I spoke to a friend who just had kids, 2 kids I think, just had a kid when I last spoke to her, had a kid since that happened, and it's like, oh yeah, now there's certain risks they cannot take. Oh, it's hard. So I don't want to go to passenger pickup or departing flights, but also left looks like a hellhole, so I'm going to take the controversial route and go forwards. Okay, I clearly can go, yeah, it's either left or forwards, and you know what, I guess I can technically go right. No, right, we're going left. That's where the strip is, that's where home is, that's where I'm going. So yeah, this also feels illicit. Just whenever you're near an airport, you wanna be following some rules ideally, I guess, but not me, not today. Huh, interesting. Oh, it's been 160 days without rain here in Las Vegas. Anyway, so that 4-pound investment, it's got me thinking about a lot of things, about how the world kind of deliberately tries to build your investment in it. There's a reason almost any government of any day is going to be encouraging home ownership on some level, right? Like, when people own, they care more about their community than if they are just you know, renting the thing. This is why people try to generally space out renting and own properties, etc. There's a reason why you know, people want you to have a full-time job, even if we can have a world where, you know, as many people as possible you know, don't have to work for their living. If people aren't invested and don't have a sense of caring and a sense of needing from things, it's believed, you know, whether correctly or not, there's people pick up these investments. Oh god, this can't be right. Okay, that's an economy parking lot. This is, ooh, I might have to check Google Maps because none of this looks right to me. Oh, airport exit, damn it. Let's get some good in. Let's at least cross the road. Although, could that be an exit too? What is that? How is it just nothingness? Okay, we're doubling back on ourselves, but really it's a victory. Really it's a victory. But yeah, you start to pick up these kind of these things that tie you into it. And speaking of picking up investments, I have the most, you know, we're 50 minutes in the video on the third channel. If you hate me for this, it's fine, because an interesting thing, that one of the things I like about America is that your class identity, like sometimes, like some people have tied in race and class in certain areas, but even then not successfully entirely. Some people try to tie in like, oh yeah, you know, you don't want to be one of them city boys that, you know, like you hear stuff like that. But for the most part, class is determined by your current economic status, which sucks on some level, like, oh yeah, you're worth what you work or something. But coming from the UK, where the overwhelming majority of people see class as kind of inherited and based on your mannerisms and whatever else, like you know, there's a millionaire, maybe you want to call him the UK equivalent of Donald Trump, but he's called Alan Sugar. He's from London. He's got a very working class accent. He's from a working class family. He's a multi-millionaire now. I can't, you know, he's literally runs the UK version of The Apprentice. But many people, a healthy number, maybe the majority, would call him working class. And you know, in America, you couldn't call someone who was a multi-millionaire working class. Like you know, I can name many more examples. Mike Ashley, he owns Sports Direct. It's a huge company. He owns this company. He's worth millions. There's weird photo ops of him like having thousands of pounds in cash though, because oh yeah, he went to the casino and just before. It's like, wait, what the heck is that? It's super interesting because there's a lot of like cultural, you know, signifiers of class that don't fully, okay, am I following the pathway here, or am I going to go on to Paradise Avenue? Because Paradise Avenue I know that's good. I know we're in Paradise right now, so you want to be on Paradise Road. But apparently I don't. Apparently I want to be next to this bypass, or whatever it's called, overhead thing, this airport road. You're not sure if that's what you reckon, airport, that's what you reckon. And so one of the things I guess I was lucky for in the UK is that even though I grew up with a decidedly like working class income, are there just pigeons under this bridge? That is adorable. You find very few pigeons in Las Vegas. They're actually cute when you find them. What are you doing up there, fellas? What are you doing? Anyway, so by the way, I've seen one other person on this walk. Like, there was a guy who walked to the airport. That was cool. I wonder how often that happens. It's such walkable weather too. I mean, like, it's 36 degrees right now, which is too much for me, except on some broken glass. That's always a good sign. But yeah, so I'm very lucky, I guess. I never really realized it until, I don't know, I went to like school and started to mix with people. But a lot of people called my accent posh, and one of, like, even though my mother was literally just, you know, working class in terms of income, she was a single mother, worked as a waitress. You know, I can't tell you the amount of debt and spending or whatever she got herself into. But even though that, she, for whatever reason, wanted to, you know, like, I guess raised us as, you know, culturally in a way that, like, so, you know, I go on better with people who are from the middle class backgrounds or whatever. And middle class seems like a bad word on the internet these days, but I think that's like the good class. It's the one, it's where you're like wealthy enough to be comfortable, but also you know, where you're still striving for more, you know. That's there's maybe the lower middle class or something, like wanting to have more but not is what strives humans to do great things, in my opinion. And oh, we're going onto a major road here, that's nice. And I kind of like that that's how I grew up. But yeah, and like, it was so cool when eventually I had the income to match that, because I don't have the spending habits of someone who grew up this way. Like, it kind of pains me to see people who have never had to question money in their life, because they one of two things, you know, if they've never had to question money, they'll have a bunch of money, but they'll be like, why would I want more? I don't get it. What am I going to do? If you give me an extra $500, what's that going to matter to me, you know? I mentioned the story many times, but I had a friend in school, like, I was always doing, because you know, so when I was like 13, I realized my mum had no money. I felt I would never ask her for any unless it was genuinely necessary. Like, I'd lie about school trips, you know, I wouldn't tell her they were happening. I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, I just like pretend going into school that day, so I didn't have to guilt her asking for an extra £20 or something. And it blew my mind that while I was like working, doing dumb little side hustles, I ran a website when I was 14. Like, I'd work out ways to get paid, and you know, I'd be like, oh yeah, you can make some money doing this. You're like, why do I want extra money? Like, I have all the money I need. And as like a 14-year-old to have that, you know, a guy realized, like, his parents had a house in France. There's also a pretty big house. Like, the fact that that was true made me realize that, like, yeah, this is the downside of growing up with money. You don't have the drive for it. And I also see the other side of things where, like, people who grow up, you know, in rough backgrounds, you know, working class backgrounds, that never have money, and they kind of, like, because it comes with part of their culture, they see money as a bad thing, a thing to be looked down on. And even if they can grow out of that, once they get their basic living needs met, I've seen so many friends either go down the drug pathway because of this, or just the whole, like, once you get a certain amount of money, why do you want more? I had a friend, like, vehemently you know, turn down some money because he's like, you know, if you give it to me, I'm just gonna you know, buy some booze with it, like, just keep a hold of it. And I kept pestering to give it to him, and you know, I think eventually we did. But like, the fact that he just was turning down money because, like, what's he need with it, you know? It breaks my heart. And it's such a dumb thing to be broken-hearted that someone wouldn't take your money. It sounds like you're making it up, you know, and then a part of me is like, yeah, glad I have that £200 or something instead. But the big part of me is like, man, the thing that fits in with me, the things that, like, I get is, like, wanting to make your life better, to enrich your life, and to be willing to enrich other people's lives in exchange for making that happen in whatever way it is, you know? And that's like the fundamental basis of where I'm at. But the interesting thing is that, so, like, I'd say, like, again, this is, you know, you're in the middle of an airport video, you don't care about my rants. It's all good. I'm making this up in case this is ever held against me. But I feel like over the years working on YouTube, I went from being like, oh yeah, I can survive, and I was so happy when I made my first, like, $300 AdSense check in a month, because I was like, oh, that pays rent, and then, you know, I could pay for rent at least. And then eventually I had to start paying for rent, and I was like, oh, isn't this cool, I can do this thing. And then it grew into like, oh, this is now more than I would make as an IT graduate. So I quit. After a while I decided to quit. You know, I didn't quit college. I finished college, didn't go to uni, focused on the channel, and it was cool to see it like become like a middle class salary. And over that time I'd been spending as little as I can. I know it seems impossible because I always show off the ways I spend money. Maybe there's a tax implication to that, huh? Wink wink, nudge nudge, internet. But like I know it seems like I probably spend money in dumb ways because I think it's fun to every now and then do something like that. The truth is like the vast majority of what I earn I don't spend, and I've been saving. And not just saving, because saving is dumb. In 2020 saving money is just saying I would like to lose 2% of this money every year in perpetuity. Interest rates are negative, but inflation rates are not. It's sad. So, you know, it's invested in various places, and those investments now as like you know, earn me like a minimum wage, which, you know, for the lifestyle I live is like close enough if you exclude rent and a mortgage payment or whatever. And basically I have this like crossroads in my life. I think the general definer, like everyone knows working class, middle class, like whatever, you can make an income barrier. It varies by your city probably, so there's not even magical numbers we can use to define what is one or what is the other. But generally people deem upper class in the international sense. In the British sense, like, because, you know, we deem it based in, you know, you're born into status. Like upper class is where you have a posh family, maybe they have a title or something like that, and they live off their investments. So daddy never has to know about what's going on with the job market right now, because daddy's going to never need another job. I don't know what that accent was, but you get it. That's what you picture. But in the rest of the world, in a world where it's not so rigidly based, we tend to see class as based on, look how fake this cactus is, by the way. It's literally 2D. What is happening here? In the rest of the world, it's like when you can live off your investment income. One of the weird, messed up, I don't even know, it's not technically messed up, I guess. One of the holes in our society is the fact that you pay a lower tax. Even if you make $1 million a year earning that money, to me, you're doing more work than someone who earns $500,000 a year, who, you know, doesn't go out and earn the money. They just sit on their existing pile, and their existing pile makes them more money. And like, sure, yeah, like 2% a year of that is just covering inflation, but the rest of that money, they're not really necessarily earning. They might be if they're doing super active investments, but even if they are actively earning, you know, why does a doctor being paid $1 million a year earn less than someone who runs a pharmaceutical company who makes $500,000 a year on his shares that he earns? It's something about that feels weird to me. Obviously it's a worldwide system, so clearly there's some system for it, but basically once you get to that stage where instead of having to go to work as a doctor, even if you're earning $1 million a year, that's still, you have to work for it. Instead your money does the work for you, and that's generally when you consider to be upper class. And so you know, at some point in the next, I don't know how long it's gonna be, few years, 5 years if we're optimistic, a couple of years or something like that, if I don't decide to pick up a new house, and if I don't decide to pick up a new side business or something, you know, I could have enough investment income that I don't need to work again for the foreseeable future, right? And this is such a dumb thing to complain about, because, you know, like, that is the most privileged, blessed position that I could have never, like, that I've always been aiming towards ever since, you know, like, I had this moment when I was living by myself, my bank hit zero, I was like, oh yeah, I have to wait until more money comes in to buy food. And I was like, man, yeah, also, if this YouTube stuff stops coming in, I need a different job, because otherwise I can't pay the rent. And like, there is a certain beauty in the scarcity and the resources of it and of the economic systems, etc. There's also a certain unfairness that feels when you're like, oh, I have to do work at some point. And so my goal was always like, you know, ever since I learned about compounding interest and stuff, was, you know, even when I played Neopets, I was like, I want to have enough in the bank that I don't have to play the games on Neopets every day. You know, the point of that site is to play games, but I didn't want to play the games every day to get the points. I wanted to have enough points in my Neopets bank account that I could just let the Neopets money make more money. And again, I don't know when that point happens in the real world. If I did, I wouldn't want to broadcast on the internet. But the question is, do you want to become someone who doesn't work, you know? It's a really interesting one, because, you know, the easy answer is like, well, you just work anyway, right? But if you keep working anyway, a part of you will always feel like, so you did all this thing, I cut back on so many things that would have been great for me when I was 18 to 25. Part of you's like, oh, I did all that and I didn't even need to. But the other part of you's like, if you retire at 35, or if you retire at 30, if I'm super optimistic or whatever, not that that's what I intend to do. I like making YouTube videos too much. But I'll always be making something here, right? Even in the worst case retirement scenario, I'd still be making YouTube videos. So it still wouldn't really be a full retirement, would it? There's always gonna be something here. But and I worry if, like, even though it's probably good for me, it's good for the world. What if part of that is just down to the same class identity, that like, I believe, I like working and earning. I don't like that I have to. There's something nice about feeling like something is earned. I don't think I could ever go to a world where I felt like that wasn't true. I don't know if that's human, I don't know if that's my raising, and I really don't know if I want to find out. Like, I think it'd depress me to learn that, yeah, actually, humans can comfortably live without needing to work, because to me it seems so necessary. To me it seems like a fundamental part of being a human being. But maybe that's just me being foolhardy. Oh look, we found the airport sign. McCarran International Airport, Clark County welcomes you. Fun fact, this airport, indeed, along with the strip you can see in the background, it's getting closer now, huh? This airport is in Clark County, well, it's in Paradise, which is a non-city, like it's an unincorporated area. And so that means that there's no real, like, it doesn't have like a bunch of laws and stuff like that. So most of it comes from Clark County, the police, the rules, etc. And that's why if you ever come to Vegas, Clark County is pretty darn important. So yeah, I know, like, I wonder if like working being a part of identity is like built into us, if everyone always finds a way to do it, because it definitely seems that way. Like, why else would you find, like, I guess we should put it this way, every single, if you, when people look at the Zuckerbergs of the world, when people look at the Bill Gates of the world, actually Bill Gates is doing philanthropic stuff, let's discount him, but when you look at all the big billionaires of the world, Jeff Bezos is the most wealthy man on the planet. Why does he continue to work? You might not like agree with what he does for work, but we can all agree that it's some amount of work to show up at that office, to have meetings, to run a company as big as Amazon. Oh look, there's a presidential limo. That's nice. But we can all agree that he's doing some form of work every day. Why is that? He doesn't need to. Him and his children and his grandchildren don't need to work. Like, realistically, some number of generations down the line, they're going to blow the money. No matter how much he has in a big pot somewhere, some of that money is eventually going to be blown. Why does he choose to work? And the answer is because he wants to make a difference in the world. Or maybe that he just wants to have a bigger part of wealth. Like, I mean, you could argue that that bigger part of wealth is a difference in the world. You just would have to argue whether it was positive or negative. Man, crossing the road in America is just a nightmare. Look at this thing. Look, I want to make a whole video just dedicated to how bad crossing the road is. But like, there's 4 segments to this road, and they're all, like, this first segment is 3 lanes already. And it's taking this long. Do I have to press the button again? Come on, man, let me cross. I just want to... Why did the toy cat cross the road? He just wanted to get to his home. I might be going a little crazy from the heat. But yeah, I know on the internet people are so quick to jump to, and I think you need to, like, for an ideology to work that requires, so if you want to take someone else's money, you can't just be like, well, I need it more than them. Because that's not the most convincing. Oh, please tell me to let me across now. I think it is. The cars have stopped again. Okay, I'm gonna press the button one more time here. Let me across this road. Oh man, I'm just in pain. I'm just standing in a road, consuming fumes, just praying that one day the sign changes to a walk. What if it doesn't? What if this whole video is just me staring at a sign? But yeah, I was gonna make a whole video about how bad it is. You stand and you wait at it's called a crosswalk in America, for like minutes sometimes. And then when you do, it's like, oh, that was great. Do you know how far it gets me? It gets me here. Then do you know what I have to do? I have to press another one of these guys, and then I have to wait for another set of lights. And then when I finish that, if I'm lucky, there might not be a set of lights for the 4th thing, but I'm not so I'm not so hopeful about that one. I'm not hopeful about that one indeed. But yeah, like there's an interesting thing with like, if you want to have an ideology that's like, you know, the top heavy is too much, the top don't need it. It's not a big enough claim. You need to make a claim that it's not just that we need it more than they need it. It's that they are wrong for having it. And you know, like, why are they wrong for having it when they've amassed it in their lifetime? And so we've seen the shift in this generation from not like oh yeah, they are wrong because of, you know, we moved from thinking that not kleptocracy, plutocracy, no, nepotism. We've gone from thinking nepotism is the problem of like, oh yeah, you inherit your wealth and, you know, that's the whole thing. Even though I think that is still definitely a problem that exists in our system. Should I try and make it across this road, or is that incredibly dangerous? I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go. Oh, this is a jaywalk. Okay, so now there's a second road. I could totally jaywalk this one too. But you know what? I should have done it too. I'm always in America. It's so hard to jaywalk because I'm worried about the right on red rule. Also, what is that? Okay, weird. Like, you see how scary this is? this is not a normal road crossing experience. I just wanted to go from the airport to my house. Is that too much to ask for, Vegas? Is that too much to ask for? But yeah, it's a super interesting one. Also, look, that's just a plain desolate wasteland over there. Oh, okay, this is fun. This is what I signed up for. This is why American roads are so pedestrian friendly that everyone wants to walk all the time. That and the fact that it's really safe at night in most major metropolitan areas. You can see why walking is such a popular choice in America, right? I feel like I wish the world could take some lessons from this American design of 14-lane highways. I guess it's actually 8 plus 3 turning lanes. No, 4 turning lanes because there's 2 over there. No, that's 50. That's a grand total of 13 lanes I have to cross to just get to the other side. And they don't like care when you press the button. When you press the button, all it means is at some point we will change the light. But here I am. Oh, it's okay, the light has changed already apparently. Man, I love cross signs in Vegas. Anyway, it's super interesting that at some point you have to change your ideology from someone else needs it more, or like they got it like that, to they got it unfairly, they don't deserve, you know, like, you know, you can't say they don't deserve it, so it's they got it unfairly. And you know, there's always a part of someone that's going to be like, yeah, actually, what is the deal with earning, you know, the rolling ball of earning money because you've amassed a certain amount of money. But I feel like the one thing we should always, everyone should be on board with, there's a no trespassing sign there. Do you think I should break it? I don't think I should. But the one thing I just feel like everyone should be on board with is unlimited opportunity. As much opportunity as we can pack into a society. If people want to move from the lower classes to the middle classes, power to them. If you want to move from the middle classes to the upper classes, if you want to work your whole life so that, you know, you can have your retirement living off your investments, or if you want to work your whole life so that your children have an easier ride, you know, something about college is the American one, right? But you know, in the UK it's just like, oh yeah, it'd be nice if they had a house paid for, if I could just help with their deposit or something. If that's what you want, that should be cool. But also you should be able to go to the max level, given how big corporations have gone these days. And every one of the corporations that are biggest in the world, the Microsofts, the Amazons, the Googles of the world, they were founded by middle-class people who aspire to be super upper class, right? Like Bill Gates' father was a lawyer. Like, of course, there are some privileges that come along with that. But like the fact that it was just like, you know, I'm gonna found a mega corporation that is now, you know, the second most valuable in the world. It might be, again, Amazon and Microsoft trade places a lot, and then sometimes Apple and Google are in there. But amongst the 5 most powerful, most interesting corporations in the world, isn't that great? Isn't that what we want? Like, shouldn't we want people to be like, yeah, I could found the next most valuable company. I could go from 0 to that. We want people to both believe that, and we want that to actually be possible. And one of the things that like really bums me out is this like misunderstanding. Like, when the world attributes you to having wealth, people are like, well, that means you have wealth. And that is actually how assets work. If someone says they would like to buy my house for $1 million, even though it's worth less than $250,000, then yeah, my house is worth $1 million because that is the market price. But if I don't intend to sell my house, what difference does it make what it's worth, you know? You know, you could argue none. And it kind of upsets me that there's like a big contingent of people that are like, you know what, I think we should stop this from ever happening again. People should not be able to own companies, and then when that company becomes worthwhile, keep a valuable percentage. We should make it so every year they have to sell a certain amount of their stock to pay, you know, whatever, wealth tax or something it is. But that's the thing I always find insane is this idea that we should retroactively fix mistakes from the past. Because there's only so far, you know, like, fixing it, you know, like, it's kind of like a statute of limitations, right? There's only so long you can go after someone for something you feel like they did a long time ago. Like, how long do you think they should be able to go after me for this jaywalking crime? Someone finds this video in 30 years, and I'm running for president. Should that go against me? I can't run for president, I'm not an American citizen. But should that go against me, that I break the law so I'm not the law and order candidate? Or should it be a dumb thing that I did because I was 25 and I just wanted to walk from the airport to my hotel, and it's very hard to do that without jaywalking? Look at this, by the way. There's a hemp world. Is that it looks like a hemp theme park. There's a hemp limo, a hemp plane. What is Nevada, man? Anyway, what? See, this is what I love about this. Like, I'm in the middle of nothing. I'm right next to the airport, some of the most valuable real estate you'd guess. There's an empty lot and a hemp world. Like, nothing makes sense in Vegas, and that's what makes the city so beautiful in some ways. There's just nothing. None of this makes any sense to anyone, and that's okay. Anyway, so speaking of things that are okay, I feel like the idea that, like, you own stake in a company that the world values to be a lot, and that, like, that's the most evil way you can acquire money, it's like, no, that is the most legitimate way you can acquire money. If you really want to attack it, you could be like, why are people valuing Amazon at 2 trillion? You know, we could have a targeted attack on the fact that everyone owns shares and no one questions what they're worth, and our whole financial system is based on some amount of speculation. And you can try and attack some of that speculation maybe, but the people who own a company and then you decide to sell some of their shares for the investment, you know, the fact that Jeff Bezos only owns 11%, because along the course of owning a startup you have to lose most of the percent, and that's an example of someone who hasn't sold out. I was in Coca-Cola World in Atlanta. Coke was founded by some pharmacist. You've probably heard of it. His name is like Pemberton or something, and then he sold his recipe at some point just before he died. He died a little after, and I always think, like, that's suspicious. I bet they killed him so he couldn't compete. But anyway, this guy made the recipe, then he sold it, you know, for some number of millions, and then there was a group of people that I think were also the mayors of Atlanta. It was very suspicious, but then they bought it and then they sold it. So, like, the fact that Coke has traded hands like 3 times, plus the fact that it's in private hands right now, so anyone can own some Coke. You know, like, the ownership of companies is changing all the time, and maybe we should encourage that in some way. But there's always a part of me that's, yeah, it's like, that's efficient capital allocation. Like, people wanting to make businesses bigger than they are right now, it's a good thing. People, you know, the same people who can make ideas aren't the same people who can grow ideas. But if they are the same people, should they be rewarded for that? I don't know. I just think about this a lot. I think about, like, what is the fair way to make opportunity so often. And I think one of the crazy things to me is that some people who think just because they don't want opportunity, like, I don't actually ever want to become I'm likely never gonna start a tech company, become a billionaire that way. But am I not allowed to be sympathetic to those who do? Like, I just have this belief that anyone, as long as they're exercising opportunities that were available to them and were valid, you know, you could make an argument that Microsoft's antitrust is kind of garbage. Sure, you can, but, like, as far as, like, oh yeah, I know Uber is an example too of, like, oh yeah, they kind of just did illegal things and hoped that it would become legal. That's not playing by the rules in both those cases, and, you know, there should be consequences for that. But, like, if your whole business model, and the reason people hate it is because, like, it's so good and so cheap and so much more effective that it runs an entire industry out of business, and, you know, the person, you know, the company becomes very wealthy, and the person, as a result of owning, again, Jeff Bezos owns 11% of Amazon, so when it becomes worth $2 trillion, he becomes the world's wealthiest man. If it sinks in value by 50% tomorrow, he loses $100 billion overnight. But he didn't really lose any of that money because he doesn't intend to sell, right? My point here is that we should always encourage people, the rules as they are right now are the ones that you need to play by, and then let's welcome changes in the rules for the future. But a certain number of people just despise the idea that, like, anyone can want more than they've got, that anyone can go for more than they're going for right now. And that's, you know, like, that's a thing that's so prominent in the UK that sometimes makes you uncomfortable. They're like, you know, I imagine it's true anywhere in the world that, like, if you go up a few income brackets, you're gonna lose some friends and make some new ones because they'll share your hobbies better. But like the idea that, like, you know, you got to stay roughly where you are in the pecking order, I don't like that. I think we should be encouraging wealthy people to fall, not by force, but because they'll make dumb decisions and they'll lose it. That happens every year. You know, the income mobility in the UK is one of the worst in the world. It's like 50% of people, like, at some point in their life will change quartile and end their life in a different, quintile. So the bottom 20% of people, next 20% of people, etc., top 20% of people, 50% of people move, and that's a really low percentage. In America, it's something like 78% of people at some point in their life will move income, quintile, will become from, you know, even if it's moving up just one. Isn't that what we want? And what that means is, this is weird. Look, there's a White Castle here. Should we go into White Castle on video? Maybe we should. I know, to me, I've always seen that as like a sign of good things, right? Like, if, you know, maybe we should get that to 100. But like, if you got it to all the way to 100, it means that even someone who wants to be where they are can't. And the answer should be, if you want to be where you are, it should take just as much effort as someone who wants to be where you are, right? That's all you got to do. And that's the system you should be focusing on, rather than try and make it about how much you hate these people for what they did. Oh, look at this. We are Trump Nation. Okay, we're back to brunch the weekends at Ellis Island. Pretty good casino hotel, by the way. You know what I have to do? I have to cross the road. And you know what? I'm just going to press both, and I'm going to go whichever way lets me go there first. I guess it's to the right. It has been decided. But anyway, I could talk about this all day. I'm not on the strip yet. I'm on Paradise Road. But I'm now about 2 blocks away from the strip. And I did so in 42 minutes and 12 seconds. And that's pretty good, right? That's pretty darn good. This rant here is just something that's been on my mind, that, like, you know, do you want to aspire for more, or do you want to rest on your laurels? I guess I externalized it a lot. I guess I accidentally brought in some almost political sounding statements. I don't care what your politics are, as long as you care about people being able to get where they want to be, if they want to be, or being able to not do that, but not being rewarded like someone who did. You know, when you see people, because something that's been bugging me is the idea that, like, 40 hours, this is such a weird place. Why is there a Bavarian restaurant in America? Anyway, so that, like, I've been thinking a lot about how 40 hours of work in a week is significantly more than 80 hours a week is significantly more than 40. It's not double as many. Like, it is, like, by the hours, but in terms of what you have to give up for that, and then when you realize that, like, you know, I look back at my years when I started doing YouTube, and, like, the way I put it was like, you know, days off, what's that, you know, like, free time is just the time at the end of the day when everything's finished. Like, I was very confused by a lot of it, and I realized, like, looking back into, like, oh man, imagine if you put 120 hours a week into a startup or something, just to be told that, like, oh, you did something wrong, you know, what you should have done is only work the 40 hours, because not only is it more in terms of how much it takes away from your life, when you only have 48 spare hours a week, you spend most of them sleeping, very few of them socializing. Like, you're degrading yourself at the cost of your idea. Wouldn't it be a shame if that didn't count? And I was thinking it works the other way. Like, I think 20 hours of work a week is less than 40, and not just by half. I need to go into a store real quick. I'm pretty thirsty. I found something I really liked in this store when I was last in here, and I haven't seen it anywhere since, so I'm going to look for it. Do you want to see an American grocery store? Lean cuisine, now with 20% more meat. If that's not oh look, there's Uncrustables. If that's not promising offer, I don't know what is. But yeah, there's some water with some, like, it claims to be prebiotic, but it just tastes like raspberry powder. And it's 0 calories, it's delicious. It's possible they don't sell it anymore. It's possible I have a phantom drink that I'm looking for. Isn't that a tragedy? You find something one time that you like I had like a squeezy top, like you mixed it live. I felt like it was a fun drink, but I don't see any right now. That's sad. Oh, there's more water up there actually. Maybe I'm just... I feel like such an idiot when I rescan a section like 5 times, but my brain just doesn't see things sometimes. Should I get some rest quarter? Proactive recovery. I don't think I should. I think I need some... Oh damn, it's just not here. Oh, it's there, it's just in one flavour. It's coconut flavour and I hate coconut. What do you reckon? Should I get it, chat? So I call you chat even when you're not live. This would be a fun live stream, wouldn't it? Drink Karma, recycle this bottle, and maybe... I'm not going to drink coconut water. I did, however, I was in Coca-Cola World and I tried some lemonade flavoured Powerade Zero. Let's get me some of that going. Ooh. White cherry. What even is a white cherry? I don't care, I just need a drink.
The continue button if finished. Please wait. System processing. Please remember to take your receipt. Thank you for shopping and see you again.
Okay, mask is down again. Hello friends. I am about to drink some white cherry. Again, I didn't think cherries came in white. Oh, there's pizza by the slice here. That's the real reason I love being in America. Like, I just don't get why it's not more common of a thing in the UK. Like, you know, I want to eat pizza, but I don't want it to be my whole day of food. Like, I don't want 2,000 calories worth of it. I just want a meal. Like, give me a slice. Give me 2 slices if it's not breakfast. Sure. Give me 2 slices and a little hot dog bun or something, you know, you can do that too. But a whole pizza, and in the UK, a small is like £2 less than a large or something, because they want you to buy the large. And then you're like, well, oh, that's good actually. That tastes pretty much exactly like the lemonade I tried. Just cherry as well. Yeah, I like that. It's a water replacement, it's 0 calories, and it's good. Anyway, back to the walk. Again, just in my defense, it is 36 degrees today. It's a very hot day. But I know, I've been thinking a lot about like how much I want to work if I have the choice, because that's what it really comes down to, right? Like over the last year or two, I've realized this. And moving to America kind of proved it to me that for a while, before the cave update stuff, I was working 3 days a week and I was sustaining the channel. It wasn't going to grow massively. We had a little bit of growth during this Minecon Live week. It was not going to grow too sustainably or too massively. But, you know, like the fact that I could sustain it at all is like, oh, I'm not tied to this one place for any more than a week at a time. The longest I'd ever taken as like a gap before that was Japan, and even then in Japan I went for 3 weeks, but I took the middle week in a, I don't know what's called, like a home stay, there's a weird term for it in Japan, like a ryoko or something, ryuku. But I stayed in like a house, and I made videos that week to cover me for the next week. So like, I didn't really take more than a week off, even though a week that I was in Japan, it was cool. And also I spent every morning and evening, I had very reduced work hours that week. But the question of like, if you have the choice of how much to work, how much do you choose to work, you know? It's a really good one, because I don't know if there is a correct answer. What is that? I don't know if there is really a correct answer to that. How much is the right amount to work? And so one of the things I've been trying to work out is like, you know, do you push forwards and do you try to go endlessly, you know, become, if I spend every week of every year, it's clearly someone going to the airport, am I right? If I spend every week of every year trying to make a hit video, I might succeed. And if I can make enough hits that grow from the previous hits, you know, you can become one of those guys pulling in 100 million views a year. You know, there are channels that can go from 0 to 500 million views in a year. Or in other words, making millions. You know, like it's insane the growth that they can have, you know, in just a single year, and if they can pull that off sustainably. But especially in the entertainment space, especially in the space that I work, even though one of the interesting things about YouTube is your work put in doesn't perfectly correlate to what comes out. Like, there are YouTubers who no doubt work more than me, who earn less. That's a fact, right? because and there's the opposite. There are people who earn more than me who work less. Like, there's a guy, in fact, I was here's a fun little fact for you. Again, I'm not resentful of this in the slightest. A lot of people get resentful because it's hard not to be resentful sometimes when you tie your whole identity into, like, you trade your work hours for money, but in exchange you have money and you feel well off or something, and then someone threatens that status of feeling well off. I'm gonna try and cross the road here. Let's see how easy it is. Because it's a dedicated crossing light, I'm hoping it's fast. I'm hoping it's fast. That's what I'm hoping. But you know, how much do you want to work? Oh wait, here's the fun fact. So the one video when a duck walked up to a lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand, he said, "Hey," something about grapes. Anyway, so that video has more views than my channel. And like, everyone knows that, like, sure, yeah, like an artist like Gangnam Style or whatever has more views, but that one guy who made that, he lives, you know, he can live comfortably off that video if he wants to. I don't know what he's up to. I know there are some sequels to it. Man, let me across this road. Why do you do this to me, Vegas? You know, I'm gonna keep walking. That can be a punishment for later, for some vehicles, maybe. There's a big sign saying no jaywalking here. Do you wanna ignore that sign, or what do you wanna do? You know, it's gonna be fine. Seriously, why did it not? There was a gap in the cars and it didn't stop the traffic lights. Traffic lights here actively hate pedestrians, and I don't know what it is, but it's very upsetting to me. Let's see how far I can walk down before the lights do actually change. Man, I am genuinely upset by the hatred of pedestrians here sometimes. It's like, there's no one right now. There's no one. Okay, I'm gonna do the ultimate sin right now. Oh no, I'm not, there's 2 cars there. But anyway, so I've been kind of thinking about, like, okay, so, you know, do you go all in, and do I, you know, like, do I aim for a level of wealth that allows me to be, you know, like, go beyond what I need, or, you know, do I use it to, you know, go beyond what I need so that I can use that money to start something I really want to. I mean, I really like America. There's like a few tweaks I can make to the UK to make me prefer the UK to America, but as it stands, a part of me likes living in America more than I do the UK. Like, my social structure and support networks in the UK, so maybe I end up there anyway, and maybe end up liking the UK more as a result. You know, I haven't been back yet. I'm still in the honeymoon phase of America, don't get me wrong. But the interesting question is, like, you know, do I, you know, I was recently thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool to just buy a convenience store, make it like my dream American, like, cross between like a 7-Eleven and a Whole Foods, but also you know, have some other dumb things that I like. You know, is that even a smart business idea, or is that just me trying to make myself happy and spending, you know, a lot of money that I have to come up with to make it happen? I don't know. Ooh, there is a very derelict hotel. There's some very homeless people in front of it. You know, this is risky. I'm gonna run across the road anyway. Oh god, there's a taxi there. Oh god, this is awkward, this is embarrassing. Oh god. That was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Why did he not just go? He could have just gone at normal speed and he would have made it. You made me feel very bad about what happened there. That's what you have to do to cross roads in America if you don't want to wait 3 minutes. But yeah, I think working out like how much do you want to work a week. Oh, I need to probably be careful right now. I'm gonna be careful. Anyway, I have a general rule of try not to talk to yourself. Try not to say anything when you're near people who don't seem like they might react well to something. Oh no, this is a dead end, isn't it? Why is this a dead end? Oh, I thought I was being smart and taking a shortcut, but I'm not. Can I cut through that fence over there, maybe? It looks like I might be able to. Also, wow, there's just so many derelict things. Like, there's a derelict casino or something there. There's a derelict store. It looks like it was a Starbucks before. Maybe. Whatever. You can see there's the big spinny wheel. There's Excalibur. We're like basically done. My GoPro battery is at some indistinguishably small percent. I don't know if we're gonna finish making it today. Yeah, this fence looks like it has a hole in it, but it doesn't. I think it had a hole in and then it's been repaired, maybe. There's a lot of... Oh, this leads onto an empty lot. Actually, this looks like a drive-through here. If there was a way, and there clearly was at some point, this would have been a very convenient shortcut. Alternatively, I could hop that fence. Oh, there's barbed wire. Oh, people have clearly been hopping it anyway, Jesus. Yeah, this has been broken and repaired at least a few times. It's interesting. I wonder what the story behind that is. It's probably not a fun story. It's not one of those happy stories that makes you think how great things are. But I don't know, I think a lot about like how much do you want to work, and you're like, what? Because you know, in the short term, the answer is always none and then some. Like, I have a brain that's like addled by whatever I'm most excited by right now. That's why I decided to walk from the airport. It's a dumb idea. I just figured, you know, it'd be fun to say I did it. And here I am at the Silver Sevens Casino, which I think is 2 blocks from the Strip. I could be wrong. We can Google Maps check this later. But yeah, I think about how much does a person want to work if you had no financial constraints, as one hopefully will in some amount of time, having built from literally zero. Maybe I'm really just asking you to be proud of the internet, but like, no, like I think, you know, a lot of people like to flex, you know, like status symbols, like they want to buy an expensive car or a nice gucky bag or whatever necklace or a diamond ring, you know, whatever thing it is. People want to show like, hey, I did a thing, here is the result of the thing, please be proud of me. And some of that is actually just like, you know, you're trying to peacock, you're trying to show, hey, I've done so much, this is why I'm such an attractive partner. But don't get me wrong, that's the thing. Oh, there's a bus I could have taken. Oh, that's cool. That doesn't strike me as a thing I would have expected. But no, the interesting thing, oh god, so loud. So loud. But yeah, I've been thinking about how much is the ideal amount that one has to, you know, like one could choose to work if one was working that out, you know, if one was in a situation like that. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's a really privileged question to be able to answer. Maybe it's a question no one can answer. Oh god, there's a police stop happening here. I don't think I'm allowed to record that. The answer is, you know, you don't know. The answer is we don't have a societal answer. So it's not a common problem. And if it became a common problem, maybe that'd be a problem all in itself. There's actually something I think about a lot with, like, the advice that works really well on the individual level in a system sometimes doesn't work perfectly on the collective level. Like, not every individual, the road is letting me cross it. This is a rare thing. This is a privileged position I'm in America. The road is letting me cross it, and it's not even mad at me. What great times we live in. Oh yeah, really, really low. I've got to wrap this one up. Say, you know, I got myself to Silver Sevens Casino. I could go in, but there's no filming allowed. Oh, missed. Basically at the Strip. I'm a block away from Ellis Island, I think. So a block away from 2 blocks away from the Strip, a block and a half, something like that. I walked from Las Vegas to Las Vegas, as in Las Vegas Airport to Las Vegas, the Strip. This whole walk is actually in paradise, but that's a thing for another day. But there's a lot of questions that I have to ask sometimes about how and why people do the things we do, and how and why we hate. Like, sometimes we get resentful of the idea that someone has done more of the same, and then when that happens, we have to, like, build an ideology that says, no, they did something they shouldn't have done. But I think the truth is the human brain can do many things, and you know, it's hard to comprehend that someone who's in the exact same position as me, even down to that, like down to the detail, can do 100 times better than me. I know, like, there's a part of you that wants to be like, yeah, I hate that, but also there's a part of you that just goes like, you know what, surely we should be in some way praising them, you know, unless they're literally scamming people, unless it is literally stealing money from people without their consent. You know, if someone robbed a bank and that's how they did it, maybe you could be upset with them. But I just want to be in the shade. I'm going to be so sunburned. I put on some sunscreen this morning, but definitely not enough to cover this heat, so that's going to be great fun. Anyway though, I just wanted to finish up and say that walking to the Vegas airport, pretty doable. You should do it if you don't want to deal with taxis or Ubers. You want to save $16. It's more affordable than ever to fly in America, thanks to airlines, budget airlines that are forming, like the Spirits, the Allegiants, the Frontiers of the world. And if you want to save a little money on a trip, you always go for a walk. I wouldn't recommend this or a rolling bag or anything, but if you just got a backpack like me, it's a good way to get your steps in, right? Actually, all of Las Vegas is good for walking. Story for another day though. Yeah, I guess what I'm really trying to say is, like, what do you do? Do you live happily, or do you try to build something bigger? Do I make my convenience store dream? Do I start a dumb website that I've had the idea for forever? You know, do I really invest in this Minecraft map thing that's going off now apparently? Oh, when I get home in a few minutes, I'll be able to work out. I'll actually be able to know for sure if that actually made money or not. Like, I can assume right now at least 88 people have bought it, but I don't know. Like, there's lots of questions, lots of things I've got to work out, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, in life there's a lot of opportunities, and we should be trying to make more of them whenever you can. I think the one goal I have for any business I make is to make opportunities for people. I want people who are in the same situation as I am, who want to honestly make some money, yeah, because there's a lot of dishonest ways you can do so that people get tricked into. The whole reason people don't go into dealing structures is because, like, it's a way to be top dog in a system that doesn't want you to be top dog, or at least it feels it like it doesn't. I'd like to make opportunities for people, and what if, you know, is yourself the opportunity to never have to work again worth more than that goal or not? I don't know. There's no correct answer, and it's just it's the question I'm struggling with that I can't talk to anyone about. So it's the most, again, to use the word correctly, privileged discussion to have, because like, who has the money, like, who has the problem of like, oh, I just don't know if I should invest the money or live comfortably on it. It's like, you know, it's just a question that makes you seem like a dick in the real world. Now, for the purpose of this video, I was joking. I don't really have any money. Haha, got you all, tricked you. Okay, thank you for watching. Third channel, don't care. Goodbye. How much space is this going to take up? It's an hour and 5 minutes of 1440p footage. Let's find out when it goes onto YouTube, I guess. Bye.